Good morning. How are you all today? I don't know why I'm checking my phone. I don't really have anything on my phone I need to check right now. Um, I did, I already sent my message off to Rob. So don't know what Rob is doing right now, but because today is Friday, it is Friday, right? Supposed to be our nerd special, but he does have a real job. uh, and I know he's been injured. I know that he was going to have surgery. I just don't know when it was going to be. But anyway, I sent him a link. If he ever comes on, he'll come on. But until then, we'll just do a show as usual. So let's see. I've established it's Friday. It's actually July. I don't know why I'm June. July 22nd, 2022. And let's just start off with some birthdays because longtime friend of mine, the Ultimate Uki. Oh, I'm getting a message. Finishing up work call, and then we'll log in. We good. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, just log in when you're ready. So he's going to be about 15 minutes late, is what it is. So anyway, so Thomas, longtime student of mine, friend, Ultimate Uki on Kyusho Corner. His birthday is today. I don't even have to look that up. It is. I think he's gonna be 56, so he's 6 years older than I am. But yeah. So there you go. So here's the life of a school owner here. So I mentioned yesterday that that I had this student come in 10 for 10, and I'm because I'm a little bit frustrated. All this stuff that I'm doing, I'm not getting new students. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so we're trying these different things, and we got what is it? And so I get this 10 for 10. I get this the student comes in for 10 for 10, and the father's like, oh well, just the way my conversation with him was kind of inching on that. I don't have enough kids for his daughter, for him to feel comfortable with his daughter. He wants his daughter to train with people, kids her own age, her own size, that kind of stuff, which I totally get. Is that him responding? Yeah, thumbs up. So it gets me a little frustrated that potentially, I'm still, if they show back up because they're on the 10 for 10, they're good for 10 more days. Well, let's see, I don't know, 8 more days by now, but they're going to show up. I'm just going to teach the best classes I'm going to teach. And if they decide to go with somebody else, they decide to go with somebody else. But it is what it is. So, so that kind of had me a little bit bummed. But yesterday was a fantastic day. So, I got to the school early because I had a what is it called? Oh shoot! I had a meeting. So I have an ad on the back of the receipts at the Safeway, like right across the street, and I need to update my ad. But it's like every 3 months you get to update your ad. So the next chance I'm going to update my ad just to kind of see, what works, what doesn't. But anyway, this gal calls me. She's from the same company. She does the little things on the shopping carts. Now, there's a Fred Meyer's that's over in Fisher's Landing. a lot bigger, a lot busier than the Safeway. And because the Fred Meyer's is kind of is a Kroger's, so it is or whatever. I think it's like a Kroger. So you're not getting just food, but you're going there for clothes, and it's kind of like a Walmart. I guess would it be a higher class Walmart, or would that be a Target? Because now you can buy food at Target. Anyway, regardless, Fred Meyer's is a local chain that kind of blew up and then got bought out by a bigger chain. But it's the local. That's what we have here. It's the local store, because Fred Meyer was local to Portland. Anyway, not part of that. I don't know why that needs to be part of the story. But anyway, so because I'm doing receipt ads, this guy, Scal, she does little things on shopping carts. And this Fred Meyer's there's a martial arts school, a local martial arts school in that mall. Like there's the Fred Meyer's and all the little businesses on the outside. And then there's this secondary building, and it's got East West Martial Arts and a UPS store and something else. And so, but she's calling me, and I didn't realize until I actually met with her that it was same company I already deal with. But I was like, I asked her, I was like, now I get where you got my information, because I already advertised with you guys, but why didn't you approach East West? And because she said East West, it was actually one of their best advertising things. But because COVID hit, they had to constrain their money. They decided that was one of the advertising things that they weren't going to use anymore. So she actually said, she reached out to them and was like, hey, do you want to re-back up? Because the cost of these things are actually a lot. It's like half of what I'm paying for the receipts. Plus, because I already advertised with them, I get a discount, which is cool. And that's just cost wise. But I was like, why didn't they? And they're like, well, they just said it's not in their budget, and they just don't have. And I was like, well, if it's so, this is a question I'm asking myself. It was so successful for them, then why aren't they doing it again? But she said that they actually, she told me that what they told her was they are down so many students, they only have just a couple instructors, and due to that, they're actually turning students away. So now this East West they actually have two locations. They have one on the east side of Vancouver, and they have one on the west side of Vancouver, hence East West. And I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but I thought it was funny that if I start advertising, if I decide to go, and my wife and I talked about it, and she's actually game. Like, she actually wants to do the 40%. She actually wants to do more. And I'm like, but yeah, so she's, but I was like, okay, there's a martial arts school in a building, like right next door. Me advertising in the store right next to, it's like me advertising in their backyard. And on top of that, because if I jump on it, if I decide yes, which I think we're going to go for it, then we that I get first dibs. Like if they're like, oh hey, we want to go back, no, you can't. And it's, she's not going to have, one of her rules is, if one person per industry. So if I'm already advertising there, she's not going to have a second martial arts school advertised in the same store. Which is kind of common when it comes to, you only get one. So I met with her, talk with my wife. She thought it was pretty interesting. Good idea. And then I go, I do bank stuff, I do errands, I come back. And as I'm sitting at the computer, because I'm creating this flyer, we're going to give, actually, I'm recreating the flyer because my wife, I failed to show my wife my flyer. And when I did show her the flyer, she's like, too many words. You've lost them already. And I was like, fuck. So I'm recreating the flyer for our 10% discount. So I was working on that. And as I'm working on it, I see up in the little corner, 10 for 10, 10 for 10. You know, these things pop up. I'm like, oh my God, somebody's registering for the 10 for 10. And I look at it and it's actually a couple that showed up at my open house. And so they like super fantastic. They're showing up. So they actually registered like 15 minutes before class started. And then they showed up to class. And so they were there, and great class. So I like my day, it was a really good day, like all day. Like, and I almost would like to say like bipolar because the couple days before were kind of frustrating, but now it's like, okay, I'm like that feeling I'm getting people in the door, and I'm just teaching the best classes I can teach, and I'm creating those relationships. And because it is all about relationships. And then as I'm, class end, my last class of the day ends. And so I go out and I'm starting to get ready to go. So I lock my door and I grab I had grabbed my my A-frame and I put it back inside. And I'm locking the door and I look up, and who do I see? But I see Stan Miller. So Stan actually stopped by my open house, but Stan is our local small circle jiu-jitsu instructor. He's been doing martial arts for God, I don't know how long. I think he mentioned he got his black belt in 86. I think he got his black belt in 86. So if he got his black belt in 86, I was 14 when he got his black belt. So I was 4 years away from actually before I even started my martial arts journey. And so anyway, so he and I, of course, he and I have met through different things, and he and I have become friends, and he's a good guy, and I love him and his wife. So he's, his wife's out of town, so he's going to go get sushi, and then we start talking, and then he comes inside, and then I don't know, 2 hours later, it's like 10 o'clock. The sushi place is closed. My wife is calling to figure out where the hell I'm at. And Stan and I just had the greatest conversation, and it was so cool. And I was okay. So I didn't bring it outside. I'm gonna go. Actually, I might just do it on my phone here. So one of Stan's students is an artist, and he does these abstract paintings. And this one he did a Bruce Lee, and so they're basically trying to raise. They're going down to some event next weekend, I think, and so basically they're just trying to raise money to promote, to help this guy pay to get down there. Older gentleman, retired, but is a painter, but it's like this Jiu-Jitsu America thing. So what is it? Let me find my photos. So this is anyway, that is the painting. That is absolutely freaking amazing. Now, this is a print. So they basically he did the painting, and then they had it like, it's this nice thick paper. Anyway, so they're selling the prints. Stan said that I could sell them for whatever price I wanted beyond what I paid, and then I could make a little bit of money too, but I'm not really interested in making any money off of this. But they are $30 plus shipping, and I don't know what it costs to ship. He said that, there's these shipping tubes. So basically they've got parchment paper, and they're going to roll them up, and they, put them in the tube, and then they send it. It might be $10. So if you want one of these, reach out to me. See, this is so let's see. This is just me and Stan together, and I'll be posting this on Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, so this is $30 plus shipping. If you're local in the area, it's not going to cost you anything for shipping. You want it, well, you can just come by the school and pick it up, or even stop by Stan's school. So, but anyway, he's like, oh yeah. So he shows me, and I was like, well, how much? He goes, $30. I was like, I have $30. Like, I have $30. So anyway, it was got myself an amazing painting of Bruce Lee. I was just drawn to it. And then what is it? And then new students. Let's see. Yeah. No worries. Period. I'm doing the show as normal. Period. We can get nerdy when you log on. All right. See, there you go. But yeah, it was just a really good day. And I like those days, Now, one of the things that kind of impressed me, and, I've dealt with different salespeople and, over the years, and I have my own kind of, I have an idea about marketing and all that kind of stuff. And some, we make mistakes on designs, but this gal from Indoor Media, she was just like, I told her that I was doing the whole receipt thing, and she was asking, how much, how many students I had gotten from it. And I was like, I got not technically a student, but I got 110 for 10. And she's like, in 4 months, let's see, April, May, June, July. Yeah. In 4 months, I got one call. And she's like, don't renew. She says, I know you have, another 8 months of this. She says, but don't renew. It's not worth it. And she says, if you decide to go with a shopping cart, if you're not getting 10 students a month off of this ad alone, and she gave me all the statistics for the store. It's a huge store. Tens of thousands of people go in there weekly, or, repeat customers. And it is the Fisher's Landing area. So the Fisher's Landing area is an upper scale shopping area, or is an upper scale area. So it's like, if you're not getting, and she even, there's actually one school, it's a gymnastics place that advertises there. But they're located on Airport Way in Portland. And so she's like, they've been advertising for years, and they get all sorts of calls. She says, so, if you're not able, if you're not getting 10 students a month off of this, or say even, you're not even getting 5 students a month. She says, don't renew. I want you to be successful. I want, so, she's a salesman. She's a salesman. I get it. You got to say what, say, but to actually have somebody say, if I want to know your numbers, and if your numbers aren't good, I don't want you to, I don't want you to waste your money. So, she says, I want all my clients to be successful, which I thought was, and in fact, on my receipt ad, she gave me some suggestions on how I could improve it, hoping that my numbers would go up from there. And I'm like, I kind of like this lady. So anyway, so after I'm done here, I'm going to give her a call and be like, hey, sign me up. So, but yeah, I just it was just a good day. Had good energy. Then I watched a couple episodes of Enterprise, and then I did watch Kenobi again. I watched Kenobi because I had the last time I watched Kenobi, I was in bed, and I'm talking about the Patterson Cut, the film, the 2.5 hour movie, the Patterson Cut. I had fallen asleep and I rewound, and so this one I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch it from beginning to end. Like, I'm not going to, I'll be upstairs sitting on the couch, not gonna do anything. And it's funny how Friday is nerdy news. Nobody watches this. So this is just an observation. I'm sorry that, I see the little eyeball come up and then it closes and the eyeball come up. So I don't know what it is on Fridays that just nobody calls. Anyway, it is what it is. And then, and you know what also happens today at 11, or is it noon? Shit. I can't remember. I think it's at 11. Brandon Beliso, he has his podcast on Fridays at 11. And sometimes I get so into stuff, I forget. And I didn't watch it last week. I don't think I'll be able to watch it today because I got to take my wife's car in for an oil change today. And so we're going to do that together. And then we're going to work on this flyer of mine. So, but I will have time in between to call Carrie anyway, and talk to her more about that. But it's the one thing I was telling Stan is that the stress, and I think I've mentioned this before, it's good stress. I enjoy this is motivating stress. It's like, okay, I don't see students coming in the door as I'd like. Okay, well, what else can we do to get these? It's really kind of started to get my brain going. And, sometimes I just go dead. I'm just like, I just can't think of anything. And so, I've gotten my friends involved, well, not really my friends, but I've gotten my family involved, really leaning on my wife, my kids, just, fresh ideas. The one thing I can say about Stan, though, that I do really, really appreciate, is that he, as a school owner, Ashton, how you doing, sir? We're just talking school stuff. My wife and I are going to be in San Francisco in a couple weeks, so I hope to see you there. I believe you're coming, aren't you, to Beliso's thing? And actually, we would actually be talking like nerdy stuff. I don't know how much of a nerd you are, but we got a hold of a buddy of mine got a hold of my what's it called? The Patterson Cut of Kenobi. So I've watched it a couple times. He's watched it, and we're gonna talk about the changes and all that kind of stuff. But he's not on yet because he has a real job. He's actually on a work call, so he has not been able to log in yet. So it is what it is. So I'm just talking about my normal stuff, martial arts, school stuff. But where was I? Oh, I'm talking about Stan. Huge nerd. Okay, have you seen the Patterson Cut of Kenobi? It's basically this dude, Kai Patterson. He took what is it? He took the 4.5, 5 hours of Kenobi and cut it down and re-edited it into a 2.5 hour movie. And essentially he took out all the fluff. And, you know, I enjoyed Kenobi. There were questions here and there of, you know, character motivations and how they were acting. But this one, like, really, really, really good. Like, it makes the story even better. Not to say that it wasn't bad, but it's really good. He kind of rearranges timeline just a little bit, and not like huge timeline, but like with the Jedi that the Inquisitors are going after, he kind of switches around some stuff to change that fate. And because we already know he dies, but it's just how, you know, it's just a different way. And then but if you haven't gotten on there, it's pattersonfilms.com. Let's see. I haven't yet. I'm currently going back through Clone Wars and then going to watch Kenobi, but that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, Clone Wars. Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now I am in a year of Trek. Year is almost over because I started September 8th, which is the birthday of Star Trek. So I go until September 7th. So I'm got a little bit more time, about halfway through Enterprise. Got 2 more seasons left. In fact, let me look at my calendar. Was it, yesterday, which I didn't get to yesterday's episodes because I am a little bit behind, but today is the season premiere of season 3. But we're halfway through Enterprise, and then after Enterprise, we watch Discovery, and then after Discovery, we watch Picard. And even though Discovery season 4 has already happened and during this year, and season 2 of Picard is already done, the original schedule was just the 3 seasons of Discovery and then 1 season of Picard. So I haven't rescheduled everything to have 4 seasons of Discovery and the 2 seasons of Picard, but which I might see what it might look like if I add that in there, because I actually have not watched Discovery season 4 yet. So, but anyway, watch that. But I love Clone Wars. Clone Wars, the first season is difficult to go through, but the 2 times that I've actually worked through it, I always watch it in chronological order. So I think StarWars.com has an article where it's like, you watch this episode, you know, like chronologically you watch these episodes. And so it's like a random episode from season 3, and then a random episode from season 2, and then the movie, and then you go into season 1, and then you skip to like an episode in season 2, and then back, and then but I think season 3 or season 4 going forward, they're more consistent time-wise. But I will say my favorite, when it comes to Clone Wars, my favorite episodes are the last 4 episodes of season 7, because and I myself have captured that video and edited, and not re-edited it, but I've basically put it into a film. So like you start off with the beginning, and then the last scene ends, and then the next scene begins from the next show. So I've basically just taken out the credits. So you just sit down and watch an hour and a half of the last 4 episodes, and it's just just an amazing show. So if you can make it through the first season. Rob is here. Rob, hey buddy.
I've earned this. I earned this just from this last call. I love my company. I'm not going to go into it. That's it. All right. What'd I miss?
I was just talking about, I was basically just talking about my normal stuff that I do on my normal show. Just, talking about martial arts stuff. Like the other day, I was kind of bummed out that I had that one student, and talking with a father. It was like, I just got the sense that he didn't want his kid training at my school because I didn't have enough kids.
Yeah.
Oh, well, she has so much fun training with other people. No, I get it. I get it. But all class starts with one person. So anyway, we, but yesterday was a fantastic day because, had a meeting with a marketing person for, same company that I do the receipts through, but they do the shopping carts.
Yeah.
And then, but then I had 2 people sign up for the 10 for 10, and then they signed up, and then 15 minutes later they were in the school,
Right on.
starting their 10 for 10, and they were the couple that came to my open house.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
And then Stan Miller stopped by, and he didn't necessarily stop by to see me. I was closing shop, and he was getting sushi, and so then we started talking, and 2 hours later, he's like, "Well, I guess I'm going to get something else because the sushi place is closed." And my wife was calling, being like, "Where the fuck are you?" So, but I got this. His student is like an artist and just kind of paints abstract stuff off of pictures and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, "Oh, hey, are you interested? We're selling these because he's trying to raise money for this guy to go to this center. He's trying to basically like some Jiu-Jitsu America thing down in San Francisco."
Okay.
Anyway,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the guy painted that, so they had prints made up.
That's
and
awesome.
They're selling them for $30, and he's like, Stan was like, "If you want to make a little bit of money, I'll sell it for like $40, and then you buy it for me for 30, and then make sure it's shipped out." But I'm like, it's not $30 plus shipping. Don't want to make any money off of it, but I have one of my own. I'll probably get it framed, but it's like I was like, when he showed it to me, I was like, "How much?" So so if anybody's out there hasn't seen that yet, I'll probably be posting this. If you want that, reach out to me, DM me, and we'll get you a copy. So, and then, but as I'm talking, there's this I say kid because I'm old, but there's a guy named Ashland or Ashton, my son's name. Anyway, so he is he is a partner. At least I don't know how Jason considers him, but anyway, he's a partner in a school in Florida, in the Panhandle. City starts with a C. Small town.
Okay.
Anyway, and I know how big Florida is. It's hours and hours and hours and hours away from me. But it is. He's on the western side of Florida Panhandle area. But anyway, so he and Jason and a couple other people are going to be in San Francisco in a couple weeks with me at Brannan's, and that's where I met him last year at Brannan's. So he logs on, and I said hi, and we just started talking nerdy stuff.
Right on.
Oh, okay. Chipley.
Okay, I know who that is. Yeah. Right outside Panama. Yep.
Yeah. So, so for those of you who don't know, this is Rob. He is from the Orlando, Florida area. He's from, I don't know why I say formal martial artist. At least you're former for at least the next couple months while you heal.
Yeah. Surgery was scheduled today for 8/2.
Okay.
So I'll be out for 3 months. Hi, Ashton. Good to meet you, buddy. But yeah, I'll be out for 3 months before I can do martial arts. So I'll be at the HKI camp, but more likely I will be there talking, chatting up, and doing all one-handed techniques with my left, not with my right. So if you go to shake my hand and I hand you my left, it's because my right one's going to be in a sling next to my body. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Taking care of some aches and pains. But
I really meant to say fellow martial artist.
It's Freudian slip. It's okay.
Fellow nerd. So Ashton is a little bit nerdy too. So
I saw that with the Old Republic research.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ashton, hit me up on Facebook. I can point you in several right directions, especially if you're looking to do a short film. Hit me up on Facebook, dude. You can add me and then DM me, and we'll talk.
Yeah, Rob actually has a short history in the Hollywood realm.
Production, stunts, acting for over a decade.
So I rewatched Kenobi last night because I wanted to have it fresh in my brain. Because the first time I watched it, I was in bed and I was kind of like here, and I started kind of nodding off, and I know I had to rewind it, but I was like, no, I'm going to be up and awake. I'm going to watch the entire thing. Of course, I watched it in the middle of the night. I started at like 11, but that's beside the point. But I did watch the entire thing, and I actually noticed some things I missed.
Yes, that was on my notes for today.
So what now even stuff I missed watching the original series. Okay, so we say we don't see now, and this is just fresh in my brain. That's why I want to say put it out there. When Bale goes to his wife and says she's run away, and they're like, "Oh, I know where she is," and they walk out. R2-D2 is in the background.
Yeah, so I had looked that up because the moment again I see the droid alarm system pop up.
Oh yeah.
Damn it! Somebody has to have found this, and so I looked online real quick. It said Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series R2-D2, and it popped up and gave the actual episode and the time code. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Oh shit! Yeah, there's R2. Bale's got R2. Okay, so my original hypothesis was incorrect. I'm totally fine with that. And I was like, well, now at least we know they were a package deal. They've always been a package deal. She grew up with them, in essence. And we obviously have from both the TV series and the fan edit, you see she has a connection to droids with Lola. And the I can't remember his designation, but the mining droid, the lifter. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm okay with this, but I didn't see it in the first one.
Yeah,
I'm always looking for Easter eggs.
Yeah. So the one thing I did notice, even the first time, he cut out a ton of Reva. He cut out a ton. Even the ending. He cut out the ending.
Which I'm okay with.
But I think, and so like the way I was describing it yesterday is that he edited her from being a major supporting character to a minor supporting character. But watching it last night, her character was stronger.
Yes.
Like, even though she had less screen time, her character had more purpose. And like, it was like, oh my, yeah, wicked. And I loved how he recut the young Jedi.
Yes.
Where he first meets Obi-Wan. Instead of it after the fact, it is before, and he's like, go away, and then you have the Inquisitors, and then how he digitally removed his head. I was like, oh my god. Now I noticed that at first, but I was like, but I loved, like, I was like, what a smart way to do it. What a smart way to do it.
So the big thing with Reva, excuse me, thinking Old Republic now. Big thing with Reva. So, and talked about this.
And if you're still on, we are talking about
the fan edit.
If we're talking about the fan edit, but we're talking about. So if you actually have not seen Kenobi, this is a spoiler alert. Okay, major spoiler alert. So I want you to keep on watching, but if you don't want spoilers, I'm warning you now. So okay, continue, sir.
Okay, so you're still watching. So the thing I liked about it, right? You and I talked about it a lot. How she started off as this unforgiving, stereotypical angry black woman,
right?
And then she developed character. Episode 3 on, and we both by the end of it were like, we like her. We like the character now because we get all of it because we saw the bigger picture, right?
Yes.
So by the way he edited things more in a linear way.
Mm-hmm.
I love foreshadowing. I love the fact that we got constant flashbacks in the serialized version. But when you're doing it in a fan edit, right? You're doing it in a movie, you don't really need that, nor do you necessarily want that.
Right.
So what I like that they did was, even though she has less screen time, she has a stronger story arc than she did before. Because it's not just, yeah, I think she is. Well, why is she doing this? Well, he stopped her, so maybe she's not. It literally puts it into a place of, she's ruthless. Holy shit, she's definitely bad. She's trying to move her way up any means necessary. Oh, wait. Oh, she was a youngling. Oh, Vader knew. Oh my God. They did a complete start to finish arc of her that I thought was more conducive with the character and her intended arc versus the actual arc, right? I felt like the fan edit, the biggest way to put this is, the Obi-Wan TV series had elements of Book of Boba Fett, where supporting characters became primary. And it took away at times from what the essence of the story was, which was to tell what's happening with Obi-Wan during this period.
Right.
So we have cleaned that up. And now it is Obi-Wan's story. And everybody else has a role to play, but it doesn't become so nice meeting you too, Ashton.
See you, Ashton.
Add me, like I said, hit me up on DMs, dude. We'll talk. But having too many characters can bog you down. I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about supporting characters and not so much time about talking about Obi-Wan and his journey. Now with this, it's Obi-Wan's journey, and you watch him go from someone who cut himself out from the Force, was beaten down, was defeated, to reestablishing hope. You have early on trying to talk to Qui-Gon, can't connect to Qui-Gon, tries again, still can't do it. Master, I need you. Where are you? What's going on? To the end, Master, finally. No, I've been here the whole time. You're now ready to hear me. Come on, we have a lot of work to do. So I feel like we not only do we compress everything, but we compress everything in such a positive way where you don't get off in the weeds and you don't get lost in some of the unnecessary parts and pieces. And I felt it ended, the stuff with Luke at the end. A good buddy of mine, Chuck, we talked about this with the last trilogy, kind of how they did Luke dirty, right? Luke, the epitome of hope, that they made him hopeless and loved it. And one of the reasons why I'm not a big Rian Johnson fan, I mean, one of many reasons, but you take somebody that's supposed to be an extremely powerful Force user, and yes, he does have a moment of it, but you really shit on the character. And his thought, and I agree with it. I didn't see it at first, but his thought was, here we have young Luke running away. Oh, he slipped, knocked himself out. It was kind of a pointless reality to say, well, that's why he doesn't remember any of it, because he got a concussion. It wasn't necessarily needed. And the questions arise: how'd she know that there was a child? Because she never met him before. How did she know now? And supposition. I mean, granted, she had the comms and all this other stuff, but it came down to a lot of that's a big reach. Removing it provided a better ending, a better and still open-ended element.
Because we don't really know that she's dead.
No.
Like, she could have died, but we don't know.
No. And it's the same way with both the TV series and the fan edit. So I absolutely, I think we gave the series a B+ or an A-, something like that. I feel this is an A+. If this was what they did, this is an A+. Because this is quality new additions to mythos. This is telling Obi-Wan's story, showing his growth, showing him going from the darkest of dark to the beginning to walk the walk again, right? Going back, and he's rehabilitated himself, and he's going back on the path of becoming, for lack of better terminology, a Jedi Grandmaster. And I really, really, really enjoyed this fan edit. I mean, the quality was beyond phenomenal. I mean, the fact that this guy took all this stuff, re-edited music, re-edited audio, pulled out the best elements. I mean, I'm willing to bet this guy had a 3-inch binder filled with nothing but time codes for his editing outline,
Yeah.
and go, oh my God, it's 5 a.m. I've been working 24 hours straight, but I got to get this done. And just phenomenal. I mean, the fact that he digitally, we have the edit from Reva swinging, Grand Inquisitor stopping. No, we're not going to kill him yet. Jedi running off, and it's like that kind of changed what they were, right? And
Right.
then it's no, she swings, we cut. Next thing we see, there he is, and he's decapitated. He's not just hanging.
Like that's so. I was like, yes.
I
when I first watched that scene, I had to. I was because it cut so quickly.
Yes.
And I was like, oh. And then we see him. The next time we see him, he's hanging there, no head. I'm like, how did he edit that? So I went back to the scene, and he's like, no, he cut it right at the right time. So, like, yeah, she came in on his shoulder in the actual episode, but in real, like, just
lopped it off.
Yeah.
And the fact that they hung, and this is what my brain went, right? The fact that they hung a decapitated Jedi in a crucifix style position was showing, it's the duality, right? It's a martyred moment for Obi-Wan.
Right.
And that's really what kind of spurs him forward. Like, this guy came to me for help and I didn't do it. It puts the Grand Inquisitor's speech of the Jedi code. They're what is it? They're shackled to the Jedi code. I was like, now that makes a hell of a lot more sense because of your treatment versus the shackled to it. No, don't kill him. Let's toy with him. Let's play. Like, no, you're gonna kill him and walk off. So I'm like, they just did a really, really, really good job. There's some stuff with Leia that they took out that I wish they kept in, primarily with Leia and Reva and some of their conversations, but I understand why they didn't.
Right.
But I liked her sass, where it's like, but I'm your friend. If you're my friend, you let me call my father and make sure it's okay to tell you. It's like, missed that because it was playful, but I still think they did justice to her character, and they didn't get it. They didn't allow that to be lost by then adding Luke at the very end, where your last thoughts are, Leia's safe. Oh no, Luke. It was Leia's safe. Vader's pissed. Obi-Wan's gotten better. Hey, there is Luke, on a positive note. Now we can say, oh, Obi-Wan is kind of sort of around because he met the boy, did the hello there, and then off we went. So I feel like it gave it a better, cleaner ending. And it didn't weigh itself down with unnecessary perceived fan responses. Right.
Yeah, I just blown away by the movie. I want to watch it again during the day.
I've watched it twice. I watched it and I was like, holy shit! I did a bunch of work, and then I had about an hour and a half before my doctor's appointment yesterday, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it again. So I watched it up until I had to leave, and I came back, and then I watched the rest of it. And was like, God, it's so good. And I will watch it again this weekend. I will. I mean, it is something that I personally plan on burning onto a Blu-ray, so I can say I have a Blu-ray copy of it. No other reason than that, and I can just throw it into one of my Blu-ray players versus having to load up my computer, plug in an HDMI, and all that shit. But
actually, that might actually be a good idea. Is not necessarily a Blu-ray, but just throwing it on a DVD.
You can do a DVD.
Yeah, just because DVD.
Well, it's 12 gigs.
Blu-ray. What I would do is I would just throw it into Final Cut.
Yeah.
And then just burn it from Final Cut onto a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be standard.
And I'm doing the same thing, just
high def
through Adobe.
But yeah, that's. And I could burn it onto a Blu-ray, but I don't have a Blu-ray burner.
Oh, so. Yeah, I do. We can talk later. We can figure that out.
Okay. Because I was thinking for those people who were just like, no, I haven't. I was just going to go out and buy a bunch of 16 gig data sticks and be like, here, go watch it. Go watch it.
And you get a fan edit, and you get a fan edit, and you get a fan edit, and everybody gets a fan edit. Check under your seats.
Yeah.
No, you can't have a car. Take a fan edit. Well, I mean, and I know we could go on and on about it. It really, if people haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It is well worth it. Whether you loved Obi-Wan, hated Obi-Wan, just didn't care about Obi-Wan, watch the fan edit, because it really gives you the cliff notes so you can actually have those water cooler conversations. If you don't know what a water cooler conversation is, Google it. You probably were born in the 90s or sooner. But you can have those conversations and feel like you can talk from an educated perspective. But really enjoyed it. New Horizons.
All right. So I have not seen. I did not see yesterday's episode.
Okay, I watched it. I won't spoil anything, but I watched it.
But I did watch last week's episode, and last week's episode, to me, was actually that was an episode. That was an Orville episode.
Yep.
It was serious, comedic, like it was like why couldn't it was almost like it's almost, and I not knowing what yesterday's episode is, it's almost like the further we get into the series, it's like why didn't they put those at the beginning?
And this week, I will say, same shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good episode. Very good episode. I really enjoyed it, and it should have been early on. Like I've said it several times when we talk about New Horizon. The question I have, and it'll probably get answered at some point, is what was written when versus what was shot and aired when.
Right.
And I feel like this would have been the perfect season premiere because you have the history of the Kaylon.
Yep.
You see what they're going through. You see what they're struggling with. Follow this one. So you see what they're going through. You know, you've got Isaac tries to have emotion, has emotion, loses emotion.
Right.
So we have that. Then you put the Isaac kills himself episode because now he's had a taste of empathy. Now he has a taste of emotions. Now he's lost all of that. Now he's processing both. Now he kills himself. That would have been much more powerful for both the character and the series, and would have given all of us, given us a different perspective on it.
Absolutely.
The way they did it. And I've got a lot of friends that are varying degrees of nerds. I got some hardcore Trek fans. One of them posted today and was like, just watched the newest episode of Orville. They out-trekked Trek. I disagree with that 100%. However, I will say this week's episode was a very Trek style inspired moments I would have edited out. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
But very Trek strong episode. And I feel like that would have been a really good, we'll call it mid-season. We'll call it early episode because it does not have a lot of humor. There's some awkward moments where it's kind of like humorous in that like way. But it made sense. And it should have been earlier on. You know, we had the Topa episode. This is a Topa-centric episode.
Oh, okay.
The Topa episode earlier. This should have been, again, much like the Isaac balance. This should have been the next or the second to next episode, which is why I think it should have been a mid-season episode.
Right.
Because there's a lot of strong development. There's a lot of strong growth. There's a lot of future implementations on some negatives that are going to happen. And I feel like it would have set up better for then doing the Krill episode, then doing the, put that one where we go in the dark, do the Topa first episode, or the second episode of the season, I think it was, that Topa episode, Krill episode where they go to space, they meet the spore people that we'll never see again. Yeah. Do the Topa episode, then that just aired yesterday, today, then do the Krill Trump episode, I don't know what to call it. Again, I think it would have built more suspense in that process because of the way the story lined out. And I really do feel now that we're, and And I don't know if there's 2 more episodes. I think this was the season finale. I don't know, and did not look it up.
Oh, I just when I don't know either. I assumed it at minimum we're doing 10 episodes, because even on my and I'll just bring it up on here. I just have episode 9 coming on next week. So but that was a guess. So
let's see. Just says 8. How many episodes? Well, it says 34. That's not right. That's all. That just says 7. That's also not right. 10 episodes.
Oh, really? Only
10 episodes. We have 2 more episodes.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
So that's good. So again, if it continues on this track, which I'm hoping it does, because it almost feels like they found a writing stride somewhere.
Yeah.
They said, well, this episode, even though we may have written it first or second or fifth or whatever, this episode is a stronger episode to play more towards insert.
Right.
And this episode is based upon what we built off of this episode and in previous seasons. So we're going to put that here. And this episode is this. Again, I feel like much like some of the episodes of TOS, where you look and it's like, oh, yeah, this was actually written and shot before this episode, but it was aired well after that episode.
Right.
I think that's kind of the same trap they fell into here. I could be 100% wrong, but it feels that way for a lot of reasons, including the amount and quality, because there's a lot of really good quality CG moments, especially this week, where you really have to ask, looking from a production standpoint, that takes time.
Right.
Did they have enough time to complete all that CG and put it out when they wanted to, maybe originally? Or if they said, hey, listen, we need 2 more weeks. Okay, well, we're going to have to put this story here and then this story here and move this to then. And that gives you that time to finish the CG and we can get it out the final edit. So those are just the things that go through my brain. But I'm feeling better about the season because now we've had 2 strong episodes back to back.
Right.
We've got potentially 2 more okay or strong episodes. So
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, there's been so much stuff going on that Lisa and I just didn't have I probably could have watched it without her, but we've been watching it together, so I figured.
Yeah, no, don't piss her off.
So one thing I did see a little bit off of this, but it popped into my brain, so I don't want to forget it. Have you seen a trailer for Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves?
So I saw it pop up in my feed yesterday, and I'm not gonna lie, I self-medicated last night with some, and because my shoulder hurt like hell after my appointment. My doctor's like, "Oh, look at your MRI, and I'm gonna feel around here. Does that hurt? It's uncomfortable. Does that hurt? Ah, that's what it is, So came home, ate dinner. Hey, young. Came home, ate dinner, self-medicated a little bit around 8:30. Saw it pop up. I'm like, oh, I need to watch this. Didn't. Got up this morning, was like, oh, I need to watch that. Didn't. I saw the pudgy red dragon, which that meme's starting to float around. But I know that's also, being the D&D nerd that I am too, that's also from the newest edition with the glutton dragons and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm cool with that. I want to see it because I'm a D&D nerd, man. I've been playing it since the 80s. I want to see what they've got. So hopefully it's good.
It was basically an advertise. Well, my wife and I were watching stuff on the Parkland shooter this morning on YouTube, and it came up as an ad. So we just watched the whole thing.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, so we got I can't remember her first name, but we got that Rodriguez girl from Fast and Furious.
Yep.
And we got Captain Kirk, and they're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, okay, well, this might be an entertaining movie. Yeah. I might just wait for the home release. Digital. This might not actually be a theater movie. We did. So Bram and I did go and see with Lisa and Alexa. We saw Thor: Love and Thunder. Lisa's like, that's 2 hours of my life I will never get back. I thought it was entertaining. You know, it had the same feel as Ragnarok. But yeah.
So I know we had talked about it in the chat.
Yeah.
I did look it up. 80% of Ragnarok, according to Taika Waititi, 80% was improvised lines. Like they had the story and everything, but it was the lines. 80% of the dialogue that you hear in Ragnarok was improv. They did scripted stuff, and they did additional takes, and he liked the additional takes so much that's what stayed in the movie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering how much of that is going to be, and we'll find out probably next couple of weeks. But how much of that is also with Love and Thunder, Thunder and Love, or whatever. I think it's Love and Thunder. You know, I'm curious because he is one of those. He's an actor's director. He'll give you direction. Okay, say what the scripted line is. Do you have any thoughts? Do you want to play something different? Yeah, let me do something different. Cool. Or you guys just talk. I just want to see what happens. Okay. That's perfect. We're done. Moving on. That's it. That's it. You know, so I think that's how you get some very genuine stuff that he does. And why those, especially Ragnarok, has done so well. And I think it's safe to say it's the same thing with Love and Thunder.
Right. Yeah, Bram liked it. I mean, it was his birthday, so yeah.
Well,
but I did actually get my wife out of the house into a movie theater, which she said she was not comfortable with doing. But then again, there were only like 8 other people in the theater.
Right. I mean, most people have seen it by now. The only thing I will say about your experience that I know you originally shared, Bram, Raisinets, seriously? That's like handing me a chocolate chip cookie that has oatmeal cookies with raisins underneath it, and I take a bite. It's a horrible surprise. I mean, God bless you if you love it, brother.
That's
I'm just not a raisin guy, and my kids.
I'm not a raisin guy either. I'm not at all a raisin guy either. When it comes to like oatmeal cookies that are supposed to have raisins in it, I always put chocolate chips. So
I love oatmeal,
but he gets those because he, it's just something that growing up when he went to the theater, that's what he got. And so he associates that with seeing a movie.
Absolutely.
So
Reese's Pieces is my go-to when I'm watching movies at home or I'm at the movie theater because of the exact same thing. Oh. And,
okay. Sparked a thought Okay. So we are watching the trailers. I guess it's the 40. I don't know when it's coming out exactly, but they are Steven Spielberg is re-releasing E.T. in the theaters for a 40th anniversary. I don't know if it's just going to be a one-night thing or a one-week thing, but in celebration of the 40th anniversary, they're re-releasing it. There's a scene where they're on their bikes and you got the FBI there and Jedi ET, on their bikes, they fly over them. Okay. And the FBI is holding shotguns. That's in the original cut. That was in the cut of this. I don't know if you know this, but in one of the releases of ET, they actually digitally removed the guns and put radios. And I was so excited. To see them holding shotguns. I was like, oh my God, they're holding shotguns. And I tell Bram, and Bram's like, I don't know. But I was like, that's exciting.
If the shotguns are back, give me back Han shooting first. That's all I'm saying. Disney, if you're listening. And I will say, so, obviously living in Orlando, theme park capital next to LA. I've done Universal at both, done Disney at both and stuff. E.T. was one of my favorite rides. I remember in 1989 when it opened here in Orlando, we had gone to the grand opening. My dad's insurance company worked for at the time. helped cover the insurance for the construction. So we got a bunch of family passes and stuff. So we went in and did it. And so mind-boggling how amazing it was. And then I've gone through it so many times through the years. Sorry, I just had to kill a wasp that landed on my cigarettes. That made my life. I don't know where he went, but I squished him. But as stupid as it sounds and as cheesy as it became the older I got, still something awesome about the moment where you're riding on the bike as Elliot and you're riding the bike and all of a sudden the bikes just go and lift off and there's the moon shot, there's the music, you see the silhouette crossover and I'm like, oh my, I mean, it doesn't matter how old I was. Like chills, like that was such a big deal, especially as a kid, because it put that imagery and that fantasy in your head early on of I'm going to meet an alien and he's going to make the bicycle fly. You know, same thing. Like, you know, I'm gonna end up at the aquarium and meet some alien and he's going to help me talk to whales and I'm gonna watch him beam out. You know, it's just it was awesome. So there's my little squirrel side thought about ET.
Yeah, no, I never went on any of those rides. Mainly because I went to Disneyland once when I was 12 and I hated it, so never been back.
Show me on the doll where Mickey Mouse touched you. And before anybody gets offended, as a sexual assault survivor from childhood, I can say that. Okay. Oh, there's my disclaimer. Do you know how many? I'm not to derail. I literally I've made jokes every once in a while around family members stuff. People, I'm very open about talking about that stuff. But I've made jokes. Never anything overly dark. Some overly dark jokes that I've shared with some people. But I had one lady. We were out having drinks with some friends, and I literally said that. Show me on here where the insert character touched you. And she got so offended. I can't believe you're making fun of that. You have no idea what those people go through. And I looked at her and went, yeah, I do. Very much so. From 3 to 5, here's what happened. She goes, I've never met someone that was so full of shit before in my life.
What?
So I sat there for a hot minute and I smiled real big and I went, I've never met someone that was so offended that I'm actually a survivor than you. I don't understand why you wouldn't believe. Why would I make that up?
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't get in trouble. Get in trouble with who? I don't know you. I don't give a fuck about you. But, you know, so anyway, in this day and age, there's your disclaimer. Rob can make that joke.
No,
sorry,
actually,
took a really dark turn there.
No,
bring it back to sci-fi.
That's okay. That's okay. I dog on scouts all the time, and at Bram's camp, Carl, one of the guys, local guys here, we were talking about it, and he says, was that after this? Was that after the molestation scandal, or not? Or he basically referenced it. Oh, was that after you were like associating that I was molested in scouts? And I was like, well, actually, yes. And he goes, oh my God, I totally don't know. And I'm like, well, I don't talk about it, but I'm not going to deny it. He was like totally shocked. And I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry. He was like, so at first he thought I was joking, and then he realized I was serious. He was like, and then that conversation went into Catholicism and all. So it was, let's just say, the conversation I had with Carl at the barbecue and towards the end of Saturday was very interesting. So
I will say, and I'm pretty sure you and I have talked about this, but if anyone ever wonders why I have as many R2 units in my house and why R2 is such a big part of my life, R2 was my therapist, quite literally. I was seeing a therapist in Kansas. Weren't really talking much about anything because I was a kid, and just, you understand something's wrong, but you don't really want to talk about it. Well, there's a electronic, I don't know if they were repair or data or whatever. The nerds had a glass door shop in this office building, and they had built a R2 replica that was remote controlled and everything. And I saw it one day after therapy. She took me for ice cream coming back. Normally I go straight to my mom. We go home. I saw it and I went straight towards my mom, saw R2 and hard right. And I have vivid memories of this R2 and talking to this R2 and my therapist learning droid or astromech to be specific, and translating, and the guy finding out years later from my mom that the guys knew a dude at one of the theaters who had some of the original reels and pulled audio off of it from reel to reel film to reel audio, and we're replaying it on this reel to reel in the next room, and like all this crazy stuff that these guys did to help me talk and overcome what I dealt with as a kid. And all of a sudden, when she told me all this, and I remember R2, but she started telling me all this stuff. I was about 19 at the time. I realized, oh my God, that's why I am comfortably obsessed with Boba Fett. It's my armor that I wear on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Very rare that you see my real face.
Right.
You see more really who I am now than you did then. And then R2 is who I tell all my secrets to because he can keep a secret. I'm like, holy shit. That makes so much sense now.
Well, I hate to cut this conversation short. My wife was knocking on the window.
You're good.
We actually have, we got to go do something. We got an appointment at like 11 something. So
you're good. So I
gotta get going.
Guys,
so, don't know if you saw Rob or Young posting, but he's, he appreciates all the sharing.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
Young, I'll if you ever want to, dude, you and I we can have conversation about that with beer. It leads into my faith walk and stuff. So we'll talk about it privately later. But you know, always fun to talk to you, brother. Sorry it was me being too late.
It happens. It happens. It happens. So okay. Yeah, for all those that you tuned in today or tuning in later, I'm glad you tuned in. If you got this far and you haven't subscribed or liked, you obviously liked it, so you should share it and like it and hit the button or wherever. Yeah, I mean, if you got this far, you liked what you saw. I mean, that's it is.
Or you
liked
what you saw, or you liked what you saw. Either way, we're okay with it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, keep watching.
Yeah. All right, so everybody have a great day. We'll be back Monday. We'll all be back Monday morning. I'm sure Rob will be on the chat. So peace, be safe, and enjoy the weekend.